Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Adinike Tela. Today I'll be teaching us how to draft and sew a free print properly. So if you have been having issues with your crotch, or probably when you sew, the fitting is not properly balanced, after this video you'll be able to sew your pants properly, and all those little mistakes you've been having before, you won't be having them again. So do well to like, follow and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you. Before I start, I like to mark 1 inches. 1 inches. Mark it down. So I'll read it out. Recall I said my length is 40. So from my start point downward, I'll measure 40. Then next, I'll leave the mark line out. Then for the hemming allowance, I'll add 1.5. I'll add 1.5. 1.5. Then I'll sew the side. Now, for my crotch depth, to get my crotch depth, I'll divide my hip. Remember my hip is 40. I'll divide it by 4, which will give me 10. So I'll mark 10. 10. Then I'll read the line out. The next, my knee. My knee length, I'll make my knee 22. 22. Make my knee length 22. Then I'll also read that out. The time I'm using is 24. So divided by 2 give me 12. So I'll mark 12. I'll mark the 12 on the crotch depth. So this is it. Then I'll divide this 12, I'll divide it into 2 to get the midpoint. Dividing it will give me 6. So what I'll do is I'll mark my 6, 6, 6, 6, 6 down. Then I'll join this line. I'll join everything. I'll do a straight line. So that's that. I'm using hip 40. 40 divided by 4, we know it's 10. So then I'll add my seam allowance to it. I'll add 0.5, so I'll make it 10.5 for ease allowance. That 10.5, I'll mark it to the waist part. Okay. I'll read it out this way. So note, for my hip, to get my hip point, I'll come up from the crotch depth. I'll come up by 2 inches. I'll come up by 2 inches here to get my hip point. 2 inches. This is just to, I'll need to curve my, that's for that. My waist part, remember I said the hip and the waist will divide it by 4. So the waist is 28 divided by 4, which is 7. And also remember, we'll be adding that allowance to it. So 7 plus 1, that's 8. So from this part, you measure your 8. You measure it towards this side, not towards the the crotch extension side. Make sure towards this, the part facing you. Then from there, you can now curve it out like this. Now, tie is 24 divided by 2, which gives us our 12, which I mark on the crotch extension. Now, our knee is 23. 23 divided by 2 is 11.5. That's 11.5. You will now divide it. You share it here. 11.5 divided into 2. This is 5 1/2. So we'll do it this way. This will put this way. 11 1/2. So 5 1/4 here, 5 1/4 to this side. Then you do the same for the ankle. Our ankle is 10.5. That is ankle is actually 21 divided by 2, which will give us 10.5. That same 10 for 25. Take your ruler. 10.5 is 10 1/2. This is our 10.5. Bend it, divide it. It's giving us 5 1/4. You see, so you do same thing here. You share it on both sides. Make sure you share them equally on both sides. Then what you do next is just to connect your lines together. To connect our lines together. Do the same for this too. You can see. Just can you see? Now, what is next is our crotch curve. How do we do that? You come in by, I'll be coming in by half, coming up by 0.5 there. I'll curve slightly. Don't mind my curve. From this side, I'll be coming in by 1 inch. I'll come in by 1 inch, then I'll slant to this point. It didn't show very well. So I came down by 1 inch here. I came in by 1 inch, then I rolled this out with my ruler. I slant it out with my ruler. That was what I did there. To cut the back pattern, and mind you, when doing that, leave space off. Then mark out your points. The points you mark them out on the back pattern. You trace them out. The crotch depth. Trace that part out. The name. I'll trace it out. Then the length, I'll trace it out, and also my hem. I'll trace it also out. If you notice that my front pattern, while drafting my front pattern, I never added allowance to the tie, the knee, the ankle. I never had allowance to it. I just cut it out that way. So this part I'll be adding. So whatever allowance I want to add, I'll add it to the back piece. So the allowance, I'll be adding it to the back piece. So I'm making this one. I'll make it this part 2. Then I'll make here I'll make here 1.5. I'll make here 1.5. It depends on the person you are working with. The person I'm sewing this for is a slim person. In some cases, when you have like 40, 44 upward like that, you can make this part 2.5, 2. But note, in this pattern, I use 2.5 for this place alone, for the crotch depth alone, then 1.5, 1.5, 1.5 for the nail, 1.5 for the ankle part. So that, let me roll out my hip point. This is my hip point. From my hip point, I'll make it 2.5. 2.5. Then straight that way. Then from this part, from this up, I'll come up. From the front part, I'll come up by 1. I'll come up by 1. Then I'll roll it this way. I'll join the line. I'll join the line from this line to this point here. Here. Connect the line. Connect the line. For my crotch extension here, I'll just cut it. I'll cut it a bit. Sure if my the measurement I have here is accurate with the measurement I'm using. First, the front part, you measure it. You know that when we are cutting on our fabric, our front part will be 2. So you measure from this point to the hip, which is 10.5. I write it out. 10.5 plus 10.5. That's 21. Back. Measure from this crotch point. Stop at this place. 13. So 13 plus 13. That's 26. I'll add it together. 26 plus 21 is 7. This is 47. And note that the hip I use is 40. So I'll minus 40. 40 minus 27, I'll be having 7. So it is correct. If you have anything like after calculating the way I calculated, then you remove your hip from it. If you have anything below 6.5, it's not correct. That is wrong. It's not going to fit. The hip is not going to fit in the person. But if you have your measurement from 6.5, 7, 8 upward, then it's going to fit in. But the moment is 5.5, it will not fit the person's hip. And note, when I measure this front part, I only measured it. I didn't cut it now. So this part now, I'll be cutting it out because I don't need it. The reason I deducted 1 inch here is so that the front part will not be bulgy. So to remove that bulginess, you measure 1 or 1.5. So I measured 1 inch here for this particular part.
You have successfully drafted the pattern. In part 2, I will show you how to cut and sew it from start to finish. If you find this helpful, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next upload.